property that is associative property. So what do you think are we going to talk about in associative property of addition of whole numbers? Now, associative property, that means some kind of association between two or more numbers, some kind of connection or some kind of bonding between two or more numbers. So let us have a look at associative property. Now, in associative property, we are going to consider three numbers. So let's say 13 plus 6 plus 2. So where 13 plus 6 is inside bracket. Now, how would you calculate this value? Now, the simple way we calculate is first we do the operation which is inside the brackets. So 13 plus 6 is 19 plus 2, that is 21. Now, what if I change the positions of these three digits? So now earlier in commutative property we had two numbers. So we just exchanged their positions. But now we have three numbers. So there are different ways in which we can change their position. So we basically do not change the position. What we do is, so you see the position remains the same. We just change the position of the bracket. So now we put the bracket here. The moment we put the bracket here, what happens? How do we calculate it? We now perform the operation which is inside bracket first. So it becomes 13 plus, so this operation will be done first, which is 8. And the result is still 21. So when we have to add three numbers, whether we add the first two numbers first and then add the sum to the third, or we add the second and third numbers first and then add their sum to the first. In both the cases, we get the same result. Now, let us take one more example to verify this fact. Let's say we consider three numbers 5, 0 and 1. So the result here would be 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. Now, if the same thing we perform in a little different way, so what happens? In this case also, we see that the result is the same. So therefore, what do we conclude? We conclude that if we have three whole numbers A, B, C, then A plus B plus C is equal to A plus B plus C. So this is what we have concluded. So the conclusion is addition is associative. So this means, this is a kind of association between the three whole numbers. This is a kind of association between the two addition operations. Whether you perform the addition of the first two numbers first or the last two numbers first, the result will remain the same. And that is why we say addition is associative. So in a similar way for associative property also we will look at the other operations. So let us start with subtraction. So here also subtraction is not associative. Let us illustrate this with an example. So let's say 13 minus 5 minus 2. So we have considered three whole numbers 13, 5 and 2 in this case. So how would we calculate this? 13 minus 5 is 8 minus 2. So this is equal to 6. Now let us change the position of the brackets, that is 13 minus 5 minus 2. So this becomes 5 minus 2 is 3. So the result here is 10. So we observe that here in this case, the results in the two cases are not same. So we observe that A minus B minus C is not equal to A minus B minus C. So this is not true for subtraction. Therefore, subtraction is not associative. Let's talk about multiplication. So in multiplication again we see that it is associative. That means if we take something like this, 2 into 3 into 5. So what do we get? 6 into 5, which is equal to 30. Now if the same thing we do it like this, 2 into 3 into 5. So 3 into 5 is 15. So 2 into 15 is 30. So we get the same result in both the cases. So this is one example. Let us take another example. Let's say 1 into 0 multiplied by 3. So 1 into 0 is 0 into 3, which is equal to 0. Now the same thing with a different format, 1 into 0 into 3 would be 1 into 0, which is equal to 0. So in both of these cases, what we observe is A into B into C is equal to A into B into C. So basically multiplication is associative in whole numbers. I hope you would have guessed by now that division is also not associative, because till now we have been observing that multiplication and addition, they go hand in hand, and subtraction and division, they go together. So let's look at some examples here. So let's say 10 divided by 5 divided by 1. So this becomes 2 divided by 1, which is equal to 2. Now the same thing we perform in different order, that is 10 divided by 5 divided by 1. So what do you get? You get 10 divided by 5. So as a result you get 2. Wow, you have got same result in both the cases. So does that mean that division is associative? What do you think? Do you want to give it a thought? Okay, let's give it a thought and let's try it out with some other example. So this is one example. So let us try it out with another example. So let's take this example. 16 divided by 4 divided by 2. So what do you get? 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 2. Now the same thing, let's perform it in this way. 16 divided by 4 divided by 2. So this is 16 divided by 2 and this is equal to 8. Oh, so now again you are getting different results. So because if division is associative, it has to hold true for all the examples that we consider. Now in one example we got it right, in another example we didn't get it right. So should we give a try to the third example? Okay, let's give a try. Let's say 32 divided by 4 divided by 2. So this is 8 divided by 2, which is equal to 4. Now 32 divided by 4 divided by 2. This is 32 divided by 2. So this is equal to 16. So in this case also we arrive at different results. So that means division is not associative. Now you might ask that, okay, if division is not associative, then why the result was same in this case? Because this is just a matter of chance that for a certain set of data it might hold true, but overall universally it doesn't hold true for all whole numbers. Therefore we say that A divided by B divided by C is not equal to A divided by B divided by C. So this is our overall result. That is distributive property. Now the name suggests distribution. So in this property we will see that something gets distributed over different numbers. Now what is that distribution? Let us try to understand. So this distributive property states that if we have three whole numbers A, B, C, then A into B plus C is equal to A into B plus A into C. So do you understand what is getting distributed? So when you have something like this A gets distributed to both B and C. That is why it is called distributive property. So A into B plus A into C. So that is why it is distributive property of multiplication over addition. So that is why it is called so. Now you might be thinking that why do we need such complicated property at all? Why do we need this distributive property? So let me give you a real life example. Let's say that you went to the shop, you did a lot of shopping. You bought 9 water bottles. And you also purchased 9 pastries. Maybe you were planning to organize a party at your home. So you bought 9 water bottles and you bought 9 pastries. And the cost of each water bottle costed rupees 20 and each pastry costed rupees 10. So that was the cost of one pastry is 10 and one water bottle was 20. Now, if I ask you, what was your total bill? Now, it is very easy because what are you going to do overall? Now, cost of one bottle is 20. Therefore, cost of 9 bottles would be 9 into 20. Obviously, cost of one pastry is 10. So, cost of 9 pastries would be 9 into 10. So the total bill or the total cost would be 9 into 20 plus 9 into 10. And then you multiply this and add the two, and that is how you arrive at the total bill. Now here I have taken smaller numbers, but sometimes these numbers might be complicated. Instead of 9 bottles, you might have purchased 91 bottles. Instead of the cost of one bottle being 20, the cost can be 29. So in that case, you will have to multiply 91 into 29, which will make things complicated. So what you can do here is you can make use of the distributive property. So you see here it is in the same format, A into B plus A into C. So this can be very well written as 9 into 20 plus 10. Now don't you think that rather than doing a big multiplication, it is easier to do this sum? So you do this sum, it is 30, and you find out the total amount to be 270. Now this distributive property basically makes calculations easier. So that is the use of all of these properties. Whether you talk about associative or commutative or distributive, their purpose is to make calculations easier. So when you have bigger calculations with complicated whole numbers, your calculations will become easier. So distributive property can actually make calculations really simple. So let's just look at another example. Let's say that the cost of one book is rupees 21. And if you are asked to find out the cost for 52 books. So what would be the cost for 52 books? How would you find that out? Now, quite simple, that the cost of one book is rupees 21. Therefore, the cost of 52 books will definitely be 52 into 21. That would be the cost. Now, doing this multiplication can be tedious task. So, what do? We try to make use of distributive property. This 52 can be written as 50 plus 2. You put it in bracket, multiplied by 21. So, now what do you have? So you have it in the format of distributive property. Remember the format of distributive property. If you write it like this is same as distributive property. A into B plus C. So this can be written as 21 into 50 plus 21 into 2. Now doing this multiplication was tougher than doing this multiplication because here you have zeros. So it is pretty simple to do this multiplication. And now you can very easily calculate the cost of 52 books. So you see, making use of the distributive property, you could make your calculations little simpler and easier. Main properties of whole numbers, it is time to talk about some other important properties. So the first thing that we will discuss is additive identity. So 0 is called the additive identity. Now first let us try to understand the meaning of additive identity. So additive identity is a number which when added to a whole number retains its identity. What is the meaning of identity? Identity means the existence of someone. Like we say that, I want to get educated so that I have my own identity. That is, I have my own importance, my own existence. So that is how we define identity. Now, when we say a number, normally what happens? Let's say you have a number 5. The moment you add 1 to it, what happens? The result becomes 6. So what happened to 5? 5 was no more there. So 5 got transformed into 6. So the identity of 5 is lost. Now, can we have a number which when added to 5 will retain its identity? That means even after adding that number, 5 will remain as 5. So that number is nothing but 0. You add 0 to any number, every number will remain the same, and that is why 0 is called additive identity, because this happens only when you add 0. So you talk about any number, 1 plus 0 gives 1, 65 plus 0 gives 65, 0 plus 0 gives 0, 1, 2, 0, 1 plus 0 gives 1, 2, 0, 1. In all the cases, 0 retains the identity. But there is a very special role that 0 plays in multiplication. What happens when 0 is multiplied to any number? The result is always 0. That means the number completely loses its identity. So in addition, it keeps the number as it is, and in multiplication, it makes the number 0. So that is why please remember that 0 is additive identity and not at all multiplicative identity. Right? So that's additive identity. Then is there something called multiplicative identity? Yes, there is, and that is 1. Because 1 is a number which when multiplied to any number retains its identity. You talk about any number whichever and whenever they get multiplied with 1, the result is the same number. So when 0 is multiplied with 1, it becomes 0. So 0 retains its identity. You consider a bigger number like this, 12,101. When multiplied with 1, it gives 12,101. So that is why 1 is called multiplicative identity. Whenever you multiply it to any whole number, the result will be the same whole number. We have discussed so far. Let us now try to look at some of the questions. Question number 1. Find the sum by suitable rearrangement. So here we have been given few 3-4 digit numbers and we have to add them. Now we can add them normally also, but we need to add them smartly. How? By making use of the properties that we have learned some time back, because that is the purpose of those properties. Those properties are going to make our calculations easier. So let's see how do we do this. First of all, what we do is we rearrange the terms in a proper way. Now, rearrangement is allowed because we have learned about the commutative law. Even if you interchange positions, the overall thing remains the same, because here we are talking about addition. So let us rearrange the terms. So what we do, let's keep 1962 and 1538 together. Why? Because both of them are 4 digit, as well as when you look at their ones place, you see that the 8 plus 2 will add up to form a number with 0 at the end. So that will help our calculations to become easy. And we keep the other two numbers together, that is 453 and 647, and we have also put brackets so that we perform these operations first. So 1962 plus 1538 is 3500, and what about 453 and 647? That is 1100. So therefore the result is 4600. So you see, we could do this sum in a more simple way by making use of the properties. Question number 2. Find the product by suitable rearrangement. 125 into 40 into 8 into 25. So here also we will arrange it in such a way that our calculations become easier. Now here you see 125 into 40 might sound a little more tedious, because on one side you have a 3-digit number and on the other side you have a 2-digit number. So to make it simpler, what we do, we will bring 8 here and we will take 40 here. So we will just change their positions, that is as per the commutative property. So we will make it 125 into 8 into 40 into 25. So now multiplying this is comparatively simpler, and this comes out to be 1000 and this comes out to be 1000. Therefore the result is 10 lakhs. Question number 3. Find the value of the following. 81265 into 169 minus 81265 into 69. So looking at this, do you remember any property? Is there any property that comes to your mind? So the nice thing about it is that in both the terms you have 81,265 as something common. Now remember the distributive property, which says that A into B plus C is equal to A into B plus A into C. Now looking at this, do you remember something like this? It is of the form of A into B plus A into C. It is just that here you have minus. So what we can do is, by distributive property, we can take this common 81265 and then you put inside 169 minus 69. So you see, your calculation became damn easy, because otherwise you would have to multiply these huge terms. So this multiplied by 169 minus 69 would be 100. So therefore it would be this. So 81,26,500 would be the answer. Question number 4. Find the product using suitable properties. 258 into 1008. So here also we will make use of distributive property. So we can write 1008 as 1000 plus 8, because the moment we introduce terms with zeros, our calculations become simpler. So by distributive property, this would be 258 into 1000 plus 258 into 8. So this would be equal to 2,58,000 plus 258 into 8 would be 2064. So when you add these two, you get 260064. That is 2,60,064. Question number 5. A vendor supplies 32 liters of milk to a hotel in the morning and 68 liters of milk in the evening. If the milk costs rupees 15 per liter, how much money is due to the vendor per day? Okay, so every day the milk is delivered to the hotel 2 times. So in one day, once in the morning and once in the evening. So 2 times a day milk is being delivered. Now what happens during the morning? During the morning, 32 liters of milk is delivered and the cost of 1 liter of milk is 15. That means the cost of 32 liters of milk would be 32 into 15. Now in the evening, 68 liters of milk is delivered and cost of 1 liter is 15. So cost of 68 liters would be 68 into 15. Therefore, what would be the total cost for a day? So the total cost for a day would be 15 into 32 plus 15 into 68. Can you think of a way to simplify the calculation? Yes, by distributive law. Take 15 common, so 32 plus 68. So 32 plus 68 would be 100. So this can be written as 15 into 100. So this would be equal to rupees 1500. So this is the total money which is due per day, because in a day this is the total amount for which milk is being delivered to the hotel. Question number 6. Match the following. First one, 425 into 136 is equal to 425 into 6 plus 30 plus 100. Which law is this? So this is definitely distributive law, because in distributive law we distribute the number, right? So we have broken it into 3 parts. So this can be written as 425 into 6 plus 425 into 30 plus 425 into 100. Second one, 2 into 49 into 50 is equal to 2 into 50 into 49. What have we done? We have done nothing. We have just exchanged the position. So wherever we talk about exchange, we talk about commutative property. Now this involves multiplication. So this is commutativity of under multiplication. The last one, 80 plus 2005 plus 20 is equal to 80 plus 20 plus 2005. Here also you see that just the positions have changed. So that is also commutativity, but this time it is addition. So commutativity under addition. About various operations, various properties of whole numbers, it is time to talk about something very interesting. We will learn about patterns in whole numbers. You must be thinking, what kind of patterns in whole numbers? Now, one interesting thing to observe is that all whole numbers can be represented in dots pattern to form some kind of shape. Now this shape could be a line, it could be a rectangle, it could be a square, or it could be a triangle. So the numbers can be represented in one of these forms. Now it would be incorrect to say that all the whole numbers can be represented in this pattern, because there are 2 exceptions, 0 and 1. So except 0 and 1, all other numbers can be represented in the pattern of dots to form one of these shapes: lines, rectangle, square, or triangle. So let's draw patterns for some of them. So let's start with 2. Now, how would you represent 2 with dots? We would need 2 dots to represent a 2. Now, when you keep 2 dots like this, what is it? It basically forms a line. When you keep, or if you keep 2 dots like this, what does it form? It basically forms a line. So you see that the dots pattern results in the formation of line. What about 3? So in 3, again, you can either align the dots to form a line, or you can align the dots somewhat like this to form a triangle. Right? If you want, you can even align the dots like this, but in this case also it forms a triangle. So basically 3 can be represented in the pattern of a line. It can also be represented in the pattern of a triangle. Let's talk about 5. Now in 5, it can be represented as a straight line with 5 dots lying straight. Is there any other options for 5? Do you want to try making a triangle? Now in order to make a triangle can be formed only if you make dots like this. In the first line you have 3 dots, in the second line you have 2 dots, and then you should have one more dot. Only then you will make a triangle. But here we have a total of 5 dots. So triangle is not possible. Can you make a square or a rectangle? So for rectangle or square you would need 4 dots basically. But here you have 5 dots. So rectangle or square would also not be possible. So only thing that is possible with 5 dots is a line. Let's see what all can we make with 6. Now 6, we can do a lot of things. The first thing that we can do as usual is a line. Second thing that we can do is a rectangle as well. If you arrange 3 dots in a row, you get 2 rows. So this forms a rectangle. If you want to arrange 2 dots in a row, in that case also you get a rectangle. So rectangle is another option for 6. You can even make a triangle. Let's say 3 points, then 2 points, then 1 point. So what is this? This is nothing but a triangle. Now this triangle you can align in many different ways. For example, you can align it in this fashion also. So this is also triangle. So with a 6 you can make a line, a rectangle or a triangle. What about 9? Now with 9, as usual, you can make a line definitely. With 9 you can you make a rectangle with 9? Not really. Because if you place 4 points in a line, then you will not be able to make 3 lines or 2 lines because you will have 1 point extra. So you can only have a square with 9. So if you place the points like this, you get a square. So square is one option and line is another option. Can you draw a triangle? Let's try. Let's say we keep 4 points here, then 3 points, then 2 points. But how many points have we covered? 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9. We have already covered 9 points, but we would need one more point to make a triangle. Therefore, triangle is not possible. But do you think that we can make a triangle with 10? Yes, we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 1. So in this way we can make a triangle. So with 10 a triangle is possible. With 10 again a line is possible. So a line is possible with like almost all the numbers. With 10 we can also make a rectangle like 5 dots in a row. So this forms a rectangle. So you can have a line, you can have a triangle, you can also have a rectangle. Can you have a square? You can't have a square because for square you would need same number of dots in all the lines. Now 10 you cannot divide it into equal number of dots in all lines, right? So in this way we see that all the numbers can be represented in the pattern of these dots to make many interesting shapes. Thank you. Please